welcome the co-chairs of SVA MFA Design, Designer as Entrepreneur, Stephen Heller and Lita Tallarico.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SVA MFA Design, Designer as Entrepreneur Venture Forum 2020. We could not have imagined the surreal scenario that has been playing out this year. This unprecedented global disruption has taken a heavy toll on all facets of our lives, not least being the MFA Design's thesis venture pitch plans for the class of 2020. We had anticipated showcasing our 23 MFA candidates' entrepreneurial ventures at the annual SVA Theater, which of course is not possible at this time. So instead, we designed an alternative event that will enable the students to present and pitch their concepts to a live audience while following the social distancing protocols now in place. We are also committed to organizing an actual live presentation next fall, as soon as it is deemed safe.
We will not, however, allow this virus to diminish the significance of this forum. The students have not only conceived and produced ventures that make us proud, they have done so under the most challenging circumstances imaginable. The last week certainly had a devastating impact, but each of these 23 students, each in their own ways, has done a remarkable job researching their venture goals. We want to applaud them for their courage. We want to celebrate them for using their design talents to go beyond the ordinary to the extraordinary. This is their forum, representing their creative energy. Unlike previous forums, the presentations here are pre-recorded. At the end of their pitches, we invite you to celebrate them.
There is a silver lining. Having gone through this episode has made the individuals in this class even stronger as people, designers, and creators. We are proud of them, and you will be too. Now, we present Venture 2020, New Prospectives.
Our first presenter is MFA candidate Jennifer Holcomb.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Holcomb, and I'd like to tell you a family story. This is my dad, Philip Holcomb. His entire life, he embodied a fearless spirit of adventure. From his time in the Air Force overseas, making friends in foreign countries without even speaking the language, to working for the United Nations in dozens of countries all over the world, he was always ready to embark on a new journey. He was a natural navigator, explorer, sailor, but more than anything else, he was an amazing husband and dad. To twins, no less. But that never slowed him down. Philip Holcomb had a lifetime of incredible stories to share. But, unexpectedly, I lost the chance to ever hear them again. He died 6 years ago, and in an instant, everything changed. My family never talked about this word. It was too uncomfortable, too sad. Death seems so far away until it's right in front of you. Its presence was felt in the mess that we were suddenly left with. Without having those important discussions about death in advance, we spent months throwing together last-minute plans, digging through paperwork, and struggling to pay sudden expenses, all while scrambling to pick up the pieces of our broken family. Without a plan in place, the wake of my dad's death was costly, confusing, and complicated. Unfortunately, my story is an all too common one. 97% of people say that talking about death is important, from end-of-life medical care to what we want at our funeral. And yet, less than a third of us have had these conversations with our loved ones. So often do we put off preparing for death that when faced with it, we're left making uninformed, emotional decisions. The logistical nightmare of a death's aftermath makes the burden of grief all the more painful. But it doesn't have to be that way. I thought about what I wish I had when my dad died. A guided tool to educate, empower, and prepare us for death, all in one place. I have a solution. Journey On is a survival guide for the survivors of a death. We guide you through the logistical and emotional hardships of the death of a loved one so that you're empowered to make informed decisions during times of emotional distress. All housed easily accessible as an online resource. We break everything down in our survival guides, downloadable, printable checklists that walk you through small, actionable measures. For this first phase, we're offering 10 basic guides to death, covering everything from having difficult conversations with loved ones, to a first 24-hour emergency checklist, to coping with grief in a healthy way. Journey On is your all-encompassing companion guide before, during, and after a death. Let's take a closer look. We provide the template for you to collect and organize information for easy access, and arm you with exactly what to do in numbered steps. You can personalize your guide with a simple survey. First, you select who the guide is for, yourself or someone else, and input a name which customizes the guide and following questions. From there, you answer questions one by one, with additional information you can mouse over to explain every choice. The final guide is auto-filled with the selected answers. When someone dies, we often avoid saying their names, as it's a painful reminder of their absence. But by having their names present in the guide, it's a continual reminder that this is for them, and these guides are personal and meaningful. When you make an account with Journey On, you can save all of your personalized guides in one place and share it with others with a secure link. Additionally, you can also manage your progress with a to-do list and timeline to keep you on top of time-sensitive tasks. You can delegate and assign tasks to fellow loved ones via your account. You can track your progress while unlocking spirited merit badges to keep you motivated. The first phase of Journey On is an online resource, and in our second, we're aiming to expand to offline events. We'll offer educational lectures and peer-to-peer support groups to foster conversation in the community. To help you keep track of all of the physical paperwork, we'll supply you with organizational goods, including binders, folders, notebooks, and of course, all of our guides. And while talking and planning for death can be heavy, it doesn't need to be all doom and gloom. We'll also promote stickers, pins, and pennants as modern-day memento mori that you can put on your laptop or your wall. Journey On's tools and resources can positively impact everyone, which is why it's important we keep it free and accessible. We've created a budget to develop a beta website to help us get off the ground. By following a nonprofit model, we'll rely on different streams of support, from grants, donations, and affiliated partners. As such, we'll seek fellow partners in the death positivity and end-of-life planning organizations, therapy and counseling groups, and corporate sponsors with a focus on social impact. My dad taught me to be fearlessly adventurous and to always plan ahead. And even though he's no longer here, I still hold that spirit close to me. Surviving the death of a loved one is not unlike navigating the wilderness. With a little preparation, you'll find your way through it. Death makes life more meaningful, and we're here to guide you through that journey. Thank you.
Now, let's welcome MFA candidate Jack Rosenthal.
When was the last time you had a personal revolution? By that, I mean a time when a new idea was introduced to you in such a way that it immediately changed pretty much everything. I don't know about you, but last time that happened, it was while reading a book. In my case, a book by Carl Sagan called The Demon-Haunted World. The book was about critical thinking and stuff, or something along the lines of introducing the scientific method in layman's terms. It was something like that. You know, I thought about rereading the book before doing this presentation to refresh my memory, but that was kind of against my point. The point I'm trying to make was introduced to me by something else I read, actually. An essay titled Why Books Don't Work by Andy Matuszak. The point of his essay was that reading does not equal understanding. Books, although still our most powerful knowledge-carrying devices, were not designed to follow any model of how people learn. After this problem, he also set out a potential solution. How might we design a medium so that by engaging with it, one would automatically do what's necessary to understand? This is the basis for my thesis. How might we design to encourage the reader to understand? Let's say a book introduces a new perspective. There are many paths to understanding, but I believe that first and foremost, it needs to be written in layman's terms, making it accessible. It also needs to be thoughtfully designed, making it engaging, interesting. I also believe that if the book is supported by multiple other mediums, people will understand its content better. This is the approach of Delos Publishing. Delos publishes new perspectives through a lens of curiosity in a way that encourages understanding. Basically, we'll be producing thoughtfully designed books about new perspectives that are not limited to art or design, and we'll be using multiple mediums to enhance them. And I believe that if these conditions are done right, we would differentiate ourselves from most other small publishers, who only tackle at most 2 out of 3. Add to that publishing in a way that's accessible to the layman, and the difference becomes even larger. Some examples of the topics we'll cover include new perspectives in psychedelics, nuclear energy, cryptocurrency, and potentially many, many more. With that being said, let's talk about our first publication. It covers psychedelics, which are a class of drugs that includes mushrooms, cacti, several plants, as well as several synthetic compounds. Psychedelics first burst out into the mainstream in the 1960s, and they quickly became a polarized issue. It was a fight of two extremes. On the one hand, there was prohibition, categorizing them as public enemy number one. On the other hand, they were viewed as a panacea, indefinitely capable of good and in no need of restriction. 40 years since this fight began, and the US made psychedelics illegal, and most people are still polarized about this topic. But I believe people should reflect on the potential that these substances hold, since new perspectives are beginning to emerge. First, in research, with several studies finding uses to treat depression, PTSD, and other mental health issues. So much so that last year, the Imperial College of London and Johns Hopkins opened research centers that are strictly dedicated to psychedelics, an unprecedented move. Secondly, in policy, thanks to grassroots movements around the country. Last year, for the first time since the 70s, psychedelic mushrooms were decriminalized in Denver. Some weeks later, all natural psychedelics were decriminalized in Oakland. Some weeks later, in Santa Cruz, meaning that 3 cities have now decriminalized psychedelics. Movements are also popping up in at least 50 others. And lastly, new perspectives are beginning to emerge in entrepreneurship, with many companies working closely with the FDA and other regulatory bodies to seek approval of psychedelics as a treatment for several mental health issues. These new perspectives are exactly what our book covers. Some months ago, I conducted 4 interviews with people involved in the field. Book 1, which is entitled 4 Interviews of Psychedelics from the Spiritual to the Scientific, is the result. The book includes 4 different but related perspectives. The first one is that of a researcher who's looking into uses of psychedelics in mental health. The second is of 2 advocates who achieved decriminalization in Oakland with an argument based in spirituality. The third one is a U.S. Army vet who achieved decriminalization in Denver from the point of view of personal liberties. And an entrepreneur heading a company that's working with the FDA to make a treatment for depression out of mushrooms. The interviews were left as close to the original as possible, making the text conversational and easy to digest. The overall layout is structured and clear, but relevant graphics or pull quotes break that structure and slow down the pace of reading at key moments. Since each interview is a distinct point of view, they are clearly separated by their own color scheme. At the end of the book, however, all interviewees come together to answer the same question, giving the reader the chance to directly compare each point of view, since comparing is one of the main ways of developing understanding. Our social media presence will be geared towards complementing the idea that our book covers. For example, for Book 1, we'll have posts that place psychedelics in context by updating and commenting on recent news, posts that relate directly to the content of the book but enhance it through animation, and posts that build on the content of the book through longer form interviews. Additionally, our podcast will release a new season alongside each book. The first season, of course, will cover psychedelics by going in-depth on more details from the interviews, as well as personal psychedelic experiences and more. Lastly, our website won't just include a shop to buy our books and merch, but also articles that build on the book, video interviews, photo essays, potentially much more. So going back to what we set out to accomplish, how are we publishing to encourage understanding? Well, we made a book that's written in layman's terms and was thoughtfully designed, and we will be supporting the release of the book through an active and inquisitive Instagram account, an accessible yet engaging website, and a podcast where the content is discussed and expanded upon. And this could just be the beginning. I can see a future where books are also supplemented by events, live discussions, or classes. We're very excited to continue exploring new perspectives in a variety of fields and are currently looking for submissions. Please join us by reaching out at hello@delospublishing.com. And thank you very much.
Next up is MFA candidate Chen Wei Shu.
This is Braille, a system of touch reading and writing for the blind in which raised dots represent the alphabet. Braille was invented in the 18th century by Louis Braille, and now it is used by a lot of countries in their native languages and provides a means of literacy for all. My story with Braille started last summer. While looking for a volunteer opportunity, I emailed several organizations, and one day I received an offer from this lady, Chen Fleet, the technology coordinator at the New York Public Library, and she became the first blind person I've ever talked to. I was so inspired by her and decided to commit as a volunteer. I spent that summer learning Braille and taught uncontracted Braille twice a week for several months at the library. And to experience blindness from a blind perspective instead of sighted perspective, I blindfolded myself for 26 hours and realized that it could be very challenging for a blind person who was previously sighted to regain their literacy with the tools in the market right now. I can go back to my sighted world anytime after the experiment, enjoy reading and writing, but what about them? There are 1.3 million blind people in the United States, but surprisingly, nearly 90% of them are deprived of Braille education. There are a lot of factors that contribute to the slow literacy. First, there is a shortage of teachers and volunteers who are qualified to teach Braille. And second, there are many misconceptions about the Braille system. For example, Braille is always slower than reading print and difficult to learn. And third, blind people with low vision are easily deprived of Braille instruction. The last one is the paradox of technology. Because we have audiobooks and voiceover, there are so many people think that Braille can be replaced. But after interviewing a lot of blind and visually impaired, I realized that in the hearts and minds of them, there's no alternative system has ever replaced Braille. So how can we help the blind, especially the previously sighted, to learn Braille so that they can be more independent? Introducing Braille.
Braille is very important to literacy. Without it, one is technically not literate.
It's very challenging. You have to feel the dots, you have to learn dots and know what the dots represent.
Braille is a helpful tool because both characters are displayed side by side. It neatly forms in someone's mind how these two relate.
Feel the dots and know what the dots represent. I know the alphabets now.
For people who are beginners, have them create words, have fun and explore. This is a great concept and I hope it moves forward.
The core product of Braille is a physical learning tool, but together with the learning experiences and the community we built, we are helping the previously sighted to learn Braille. We do not only help the blind who are previously sighted, but also the people who are surrounded with their loved ones, their friends, their families, and teachers. Braille provide them a way to be connected. I was inspired by magnet poetry and Scrabble and other word games. Every tile has both raised letters and Braille, as you can see in the prototype in this page I built in Cinema 4D. Every tile helped the previously sighted to memorize the dot pattern and build a connection between the printed letter and Braille dots. And to build the prototype I showed in the video, I laser cut acrylic, yet there are definitely more possibilities to use other materials in the following phases, such as wood and plastic. Now I would like to introduce you to Marcia, one of my students. After working with her for 4 months and she learned the alphabet, what would her user experience be like with Braille? So let's imagine. One day, Marcia's sighted friend sees the Braille outdoor poster and tells Marcia about the product because she was experiencing a depressing and overwhelming time and wants to regain her literacy. So she became very interested. Then while she was taking Accessorate, the public transportation for people with disabilities, the driver played a podcast news channel and she heard Braille's audio advertisement. She decided to purchase the Braille set and start learning Braille. Braille tiles will come in packaging with tactile letters and a tactile QR code on the outside, and introductory information and class plan are included. So if Marcia's sighted family and friend who can read her the introduction are not around, Marcia can scan the code and get the audio format of the introductory information and class plan. So currently, we only focusing on learning the basic Braille, the uncontracted Braille, such as the alphabet, numbers, and punctuation. In the future, we can move on to learning the more advanced and contractions and build a community with all the organizations we can collaborate with, such as School for the Blind, the New York Public Library, different labs, and hospitals. With the help of Broly and the education community we built, people like Marcia will be able to use Braille in everyday communication. They will be free to enjoy intellectual freedom, personal security, independence, and have equal opportunities to study and work. Thank you so much.
Introducing MFA candidate Jingping Wong.
Hi everyone, I'm Ping. Thanks for tuning in. For those who don't know yet, I'm coming out today that I am an otaku. Otaku is a Japanese term for people who's obsessed with anime and manga culture and the community surrounds them. It forms one of the largest industries and the most phenomenal culture in Japan and worldwide. And I'm also gay, which is a pretty interesting combination because the first ever male kiss that I've ever seen and made me thought about my identity is in anime. It's from an anime called Naruto. Confused by that kiss, I kept watching their adventure in the ninja world. They have training every day, survive deadly combat, they fight sometimes, which deepen their bond, and they grow up. Their friendship-like interaction seems to make sense, but the ambiguous atmosphere also can't be ignored. That's when I realized that I'm gay. This anime built my imagination about romantic relationships as a young boy, and I really wish they can be together. And at the end of the story, they get married. They get married to 2 other girls. And the truth is, they're just straight all the time. It breaks my heart a little bit, and it keeps me asking that why they can't just be gay. Having that question in my mind, I watched all kinds of anime and mangas, and I find out that this kind of baiting content is everywhere. It always appears that 2 same-sex persons are physically or emotionally very close to each other, but they're just making jokes, or they're designed like this to serve straight audience. They're all not gays. This comes from the subculture of otaku culture, fujoshi and bala, yuri, and odoko no musume, which possibly formed many small subculture groups for queer people, while in the mainstream world, queer representations are stereotyped, sexualized, and underrepresented. There's this huge void that, even in a world of fantasy and imagination, there are few places for queer people. And in the endless teasing, the opportunities for the mainstream to embrace this community is missing. And this really needs conversation. And that's where I land my venture. Project Genso, a visionary otaku community dedicated to the dialogue of fictional queer identity and actual queer empowerment. Genso means fantasy in Japanese. There are 3 phases. First, we are a culture magazine. In October, we will launch our first issue, issue Q, as in queer, as the fundamental issue that contains everything about fictional queer identity and sets our visual style and language. You can find artist features to have our favorite artists talk about the past, present, and future, and individual interviews to hear the unique voice of the community. We also have many original articles about all kinds of information you need and engaging events like call for submission to curate an art exhibition. Each magazine sells $30, and you can get a deluxe bundle with multiple merchandises with $60. We will start off with Kickstarter crowdfunding and sustain ourselves with magazine and merch sales. In the future, Project Genso will be published every year with different topics and variable visual styles, such as Special Issue F for Fury and Issue T for Transgender. It aims to be the queerest magazine among all the otaku magazines and the most otaku one among all the queer magazines. Second, we are a virtual community. We will design virtual characters based on real-life queer people's fantasy to create an amazing story. And through collaborating with virtual avatars websites like Vroid, Hololive, FaceRig, and many others, we can upload our characters and let people use them to join VR chat, make music video, start their own YouTube channels, or whatever in their imagination land. And after we get enough volume, Project Genso can move into the third phase, which is an art collective. We will work as a multidisciplinary studio. Besides giving out resources and building platform, we encourage collaborations within the community. We can join anime conventions with our own artist and cosplayer team. We can organize parties as an offline meetup ground, and we can make our Steam VR chat channel as an online family. Project Genso will work online and offline through all kinds of medium, and bring meaningful dialogues to this community. Follow our Instagram or contact me directly to join this project. The project of everyone's fantasy, our shared fantasy, and how to make it there. Thank you.
Coming up is MFA candidate Sammy Wong.
Hi, I'm Sammy, and I want to start by imagining a few scenarios with you. So, you know those moments when you just woke up, or maybe you're on the toilet, maybe you're taking a lunch break, or maybe you're just lying in bed at night. I don't know about you, but for me, I'm always looking at my screens during these moments. And realizing this, I was like, whoa, digital living's real. So I got really curious. For those who are like me, who spend a large amount of time online, how do we really feel about this digital environment that we now live in? How's our digital well-being? It's so much more than just screen time, because recent studies have shown that someone who spends 10 minutes on Instagram does not necessarily feel better than someone who spends 3 hours on Instagram. To get some real answers from real people, I sent out 2 surveys asking questions about people's digital habits, their highlights, and also frustrations when they're online. And I got some really interesting insights. The first is that people go online for many functional and emotional reasons, which kind of validates the fact that telling people to get off their screens doesn't really mean anything now. I was most interested in this part, when people go online to fill the little gaps in their everyday life. They're not just looking to kill time, but actually wanting to feel connected, relaxed, inspired, and more knowledgeable. However, the current online structure is not designed to support our well-being as human beings. It's been designed for us to consume more content, look at more ads, buy more things, and as a result, we're all feeling very anxious, overwhelmed, unhealthy, and unable to break the cycle of negative feelings. In real life, camping is a good way of reconnecting with the environment and paying attention to our own behaviors as human beings. As our digital life becomes more complex and demanding in the future, perhaps we need a little campground online to restore our digital senses. Camp Future is an online campground in the form of a responsive website. There are 4 main types of activities that are released throughout the day to accompany your daily schedule. Let's say that it's morning again, but this time, instead of scrolling through different sites for something interesting to read, you remember your little campground and discover that a poem is already waiting for you. Later in the day, you have 5 minutes to kill, and you come back to the campground, knowing that there is a little something for you to play with, like building a chair. In the afternoon, you're looking for distractions again, and this time, Camp Future brings you some base jumping locations, which you can explore virtually and see how long it takes to fall. At the end of the day, you visit Camp Future again, mostly wanting to see what it looks like at night. This time, instead of watching endless YouTube videos, you're invited to watch the stars and even claim one as yours. Perhaps you'll come back again after midnight, but sadly there's nothing more for you to see. You think about the day that you just spent with Camp Future and decide to change your settings a little bit. Here, instead of ending the day at 10 p.m., you add another time slot for reading, and you delete the 6 o'clock because you're always having work meetings during that time. Under Activity Preferences, you specify that you want your reading material to be within 5 to 10 minutes and have your favorite genre set to poetry. And then you shuffle through the campground styles and decide that you like this green one better. Finally, you go to sleep knowing that tomorrow there are new discoveries waiting for you. Camp Future is currently in the pre-launch stage. To build a stronger user experience and also a more sustainable business plan, I'm getting in touch with developers, admins, artists, and writers for a richer website prototype. Meanwhile, I'm starting to build a media presence, primarily on Instagram, and eventually having paid ads and print collaterals to better connect with both my audience and my potential collaborators. For additional support, Camp Future will be applying for funds that are designed for digital projects, as well as New Museum's incubator program to better sustain the project. I'm also reaching out to potential partners like Noisily, which is a platform for mixing natural sounds, that can help expand the features on Camp Future. After these steps, Camp Future will be ready to launch. This presentation is now coming to an end, but our journey to a better digital life is just beginning. The internet belongs to everyone, so let's take control over what we want it to be. See you all in the future.
Now let's welcome MFA candidate Chen Wei Shu.
Since I was a child, I have been developing my curiosity to different countries and cultures. I collect book, magazine, movie, website, anything that introduced me to them. Recent years, this hobby encouraged me to actually visit those places in person. This winter we went to Tbilisi, capital of Georgia, a post-Soviet country, Stalin's homeland and place of many amazing things. On the taxi to our hotel, my friend said, "Wow, we are in Beijing now." Turns out lots of old resident buildings in Georgia, China, and even North Korea are all relatives of Khrushchevka, Soviet apartment buildings from the 60s named after Khrushchev. Tbilisi has the densest population of stray doggies I've ever seen. They are our travel buddies, even around some quite remote places. Georgia is full of incredible architecture, owing to its ancient history, the Soviet governance, and bold architecture movements. In the one to a Soviet-era monument, our guide took out a green bottle, said, "Let's drink." It's a local brandy called Cha-Cha with up to 60% alcohol. 30 minutes later, I was drunk. I ended up crawling on the top of a snowy mountain, but the architecture looked even greater when you're tipsy. The exploration to the bigger world gave me endless reference to understand human society. Sometimes it's about unique inspirations. Sometimes it's about failures and how might we prevent the reoccurrence of it. However, today's environment for young people like me to look outside could be full of traps. Take China as example. The internet firewall separates China's internet world with the rest, making young people naturally unfamiliar to foreign language resources. They unconsciously rely on key opinion leaders' random reposts on social media and party-controlled media for international stories. Both provide very limited information and distort what really happened for attention or propaganda purpose. one can easily come across hostile comments against other countries and races. These conditions cause indifference or distorted perception of the bigger world among young people. This problem happens globally. It's urgent to bring diverse and reliable narratives from different parts of the world to young people's attention. Inspire them to learn from other countries' experience and heritage. There are lots of amazing resources like that scattered around the world. We want to gather them and show them to the young adults. Wind and Chair is an editorial website that curates resources of human stories around the world, guiding young adults to learn from other countries' experience and heritage. We primarily start in China and expand to the English-speaking audience. Each issue, we will pick one globally relevant social phenomenon, curating about 20 stories from resources around the world. Now, Song comes to our website for the first time. The first issue is about what kind of places people live in around the world. She can explore them through map, click on places, home in ancient cemetery, from Gomorrah to Utopia, the waves of suburbia, or scroll down, read by chapters. The bookmark here help her track where she is at. Now, she decides to click on chapter 3. It is about how people's life around the world is unconsciously shaped by their neighbors. For example, what happened in Soviet-era communal apartments. She noticed that the source of the story is clearly stressed, a virtual museum of Soviet communal life. She goes on to read the story from external link or the source introduction. The diagram and keywords here show her this virtual museum is easy to understand, fun to explore, and so on. Other contents are also set in the story plus source structure. Now, she decides to know more about this failed architecture by going to its full profile. There is a detailed profile for each resource, with summary, reading from users. Because the source is as important as the story, its affiliation let her notice how it is founded. She can save the top stories we picked from the website to get familiar with it. She can follow, donate, or subscribe to support them. And she can leave her reviews. Curious to try these functions, she decided to create an account. Now, by collecting, reviewing, supporting, recommending good resource, she's becoming an active explorer of the bigger world through discovering its stories. For future updates, she can follow us on WeChat, Instagram, listen to us reading stories from an unfamiliar place before sleep. When she needs to do research for school or personal interest, she can come to the desktop archive. Wind and Chair sustain ourselves through ads first and start members-only content as we grow. Through Wind and Chair, I hope young adults can discover the importance and interesting side of exploring the bigger world, learn from various countries' experience and heritage through diverse and reliable sources. We want to invite everybody to grab a chair and face the wind from different worlds. Thank you very much.
Our next presenter is MFA candidate Iggy.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Iggy. I grew up reading magazines. I remember as a kid cutting off magazines and pasting them into my notebooks. Then I got older, I started to draw down the inspirations I got from magazines and dreaming about being an editor one day. Paper, as a magazine's creative carrier and reading carrier, it carries a sense of ritual and can build a stronger relationship with the reader. While there are so many wonderful publications in the outside world, majority of Chinese younger generation can only have access to mainstream magazines neither text-heavy with broad discussions or those ones using celebrities to promote an ideal lifestyle and cosmetics of culture with little attention to individuality. The current state of magazine culture in China pushes the emulation of Western culture. Therefore, Chinese youth are becoming more and more alike in the way to become unique, and they are having less curiosity towards our own culture. Thibaut Kalman used to say, new ideas exist in high art, often called art, and low art, sometimes called vernacular. I have never found much in between. So as a Chinese millennial, an author and entrepreneur, I ask myself, does print need to be reintroduced to younger generation in China? Does China need to be reintroduced to younger generation? So aim to bring a new appreciation for Chinese contemporary culture. I want to make a magazine that tells stories about how we live out our lives. 1413 magazine is a visually heavy showcase and discussion of Chinese contemporary culture. The name 1413 is actually from the room number where my partner Lisa and I started this idea. Each issue, we will deeply discuss one culture phenomenon that is currently happening in China. Our logos are changing along with the topics. We talk about the wedding stories and the impossible expectations of parents. How online shopping has changed people's shopping habit. We use mirror foil paper as the cover of selfie issue talks about the obsession of selfie and plastic surgery in China. While other traditional magazines focus on celebrities, we focus on people around them. Instead of star, we talk about fans. This is a Chinese idol. His name is Wang Junkai. From 2017 until last month, he has been on magazine covers more than 29 times. The September issue that Bazaar featured him has sold out whole 120,000 copies within 9 seconds. And on his 18th birthday, 37 of his fans' organizations used a total of 5 aircraft, spelled out his name 18 times above the Hollywood sky in LA. This is just one example of many. In our fandom issue, we explain the management and operation system in fan community by using illustrations, and we let fans write letters to their idols. We invite talented Chinese writers, illustrators, photographers, and artists to contribute to show a more comprehensive fan culture. At the very last pages is, we interact with our users with an offline dating profile and our 1413 playlist on both Spotify and QQ Music. On our website, it's made by an interactive homepage where we flip over our magazine and emulate the form of live stream and let readers write real-time comments on it. The new released fan issue has 2 covers to let audience choosing from. It's a bilingual and similarly magazine with 168 pages. We printed out 500 copies now, and it will be sold at 160 RMB in China and $25 worldwide. We are now reaching out to bookstores and book fairs in both China and New York. These are the list of stores you can buy our magazines in the very near future. The fandom issue was launched at April 18th. Now, if you go on our Instagram page or any other social media platform, you can get the newest update. 1413 Dictionary is another part of our product. It is a monthly online object study to explore the Chinese visual world. People can subscribe us or just simply browsing on our website, where we dive into internet and surfaces collections of products or items. We showcase creativity of our parents and how they dress up furniture. We celebrate the beauty of Chinese food. We make products inspired by these collections and sell them in our online shop along with any other merchandise made by us. Now, I'll end my presentation with an advertisement.
Do you want something fresh and actually from China? Introducing 1413 Magazine, a real magazine made in China. Explore authentic Chinese cultural stories through diverse visual narratives, illustrations, articles, photography, interviews, and giveaways.
Wow, it's in 2 languages?
Yes, 1413 Magazine is a bilingual editorial that everyone will love.
我们在 在看1413。
我在读1413杂志，好棒。
1413 magazine.
1413 magazine.
1413 magazine. A tickle fight with Chinese culture. The fandom issue is out. Go to www.1413magazine.com. Act now and receive a free poster.
If you like this video, go check out our website. Thank you so much. Bye.
Introducing MFA candidate Ray Lee.
Hello everyone, welcome to Pivot. My story begins with this table. It looks a little strange, right? It is actually an engineering drafting table, which helps people draw precise lines even before the computer was invented. In my memory, when I was young, my mom and dad always drew something on this table, day and night. I'm inquisitive about what they are enticing, but they are too busy to answer any of my questions. They just said, "This is mechanical engineering." Mechanical engineering is like a magic word, a seed planted in my heart. I kept learning and exploring, and it also gave me a lot of fun. Today, I want to share a little bit with you. This machine is called Scotch Yacht. It can transform rotary motion into linear motion back and forth. And a supervirgin Stirling engine can power a car. Rotary motion can also be converted into variable linear motion, or an intermittent rotation, which is widely used in watches. You can also draw a straight line, or even an ellipse mechanically. This movement seems very simple but delightful, and attract me like magic. They are widely used in the industry, so why not make them into a children's toy? That's why I create Pivot. Pivot is a set of reimagined mechanical tools as toys that encourage children of 8 to 10 years old to explore science and engineering. There are many mechanical toys on the market, empowering children to build a sports car, a weapon, a clock, or even an engine. These are all great toys, but one thing seems missing. That is flexibility. You can only build one thing, and that's all. In Pivot, we believe that flexibility is the key to a good toy. Flexibility means creativity. Flexibility means educational opportunity. Flexibility means challenges and a lot of fun. When it comes to flexibility, one might think of digital games. There are indeed some mechanical games, but I decided to make physical toys because scientists believe physical toys are better at sparkling children's imagination and helping children multiple skills development. Here it is. This is what Pivot looks like. It is made of high quality, safe and environmental friendly solid wood. You can see there are many different parts here, including different connecting rods, slide rails and sliders, gears and racks, and many other mechanical parts. All various components can be combined flexibly and produce unusual movements. Now it's time for me to demonstrate how to play with it. Let's start with building this Stirling engine. We use 4 links to fix 2 sliders and then install the other parts. Then it's finished. Children can complete this new mechanism with proper difficulty. Let's do another one. Yes, you can see we have all kinds of exciting components to achieve different effects. Here are more compelling examples, like Scott-Russell mechanism, Geneva drive, crack rocker, Scotch yacht. As you can see, children can use this set of toys to build almost any kind of 2D mechanical motion. An instruction guidebook will accompany each set of toys, and this book can explain everything about each mechanical form and encourages children to create something on their own. Not only that, but we also provide a supporting mobile app, which also offers many online educational resources, from the camera lenses, movie projectors, to trains. All this knowledge is taught through fascinating stories and hands-on operations. Here are two more cool features you will love. One is AR. You can use mobile phone to see your work in reality, and this can help children build a connection from the toy to real world. The other is the online community. Parents can help children share their creations to the community and get inspirations from others and make friends. Our first product lines include 4 kits. The starter kit contains 45 pieces and over 30 lessons, and 3 more products will be released early this fall. After this whole journey, I'm very excited that Pivot has developed from a simple idea to a viable product. It's a new way to play with science. Pivot is so unique and flexible, and I can't wait to bring it to life. In the future, if a children asks me, what is mechanical engineering? I want to be able to give them a kit and say, you can find the answer yourself with Pivot. Thank you, and especially thanks to my advisor, Elliot Walker. Hope you enjoy Pivot.
Coming up is MFA candidate Jiaying Mao.
Hi, I'm Jiaying, and let me introduce my thesis, Sunview. I'm going to show you a video first. The scene depicted a magical gathering on the hill of Broken on April 30th. These people are celebrating the Walpurgisnacht. In German folklore, witches gathered and danced to help usher in the new season, to welcome the lighter half of the year. This music video is by a pagan folk band, Faun. They introduced me to a completely new world. People living their lives so poetically, chanting ballads in the medieval castles, picking chestnuts in the forest, praising ancient gods from different cultures and calling themselves neo-pagan. Following their steps, I've attended fantasy art exhibitions, medieval music festivals, and cultural revival events during the past few years. Even though in the depths of our hearts, we may believe that magic merely comes from the imagination, when people gather together with dresses, music, and dance, those tales and mysterious creatures come alive. That's the power of ritual, creating and sustaining identity, making magic a reality. In ancient times, people used the rituals to spiritually connect with Mother Nature and the vibrations of the universe. Nowadays, we are overloaded with information and have less time for ourselves and to connect as our ancestors did. Fast-paced lives keep many people in a state of mental subhealth. Magic wanes and disappears. It's time to bring that connection back. Here comes my thesis, Sunview, inspired by the traditions of the ancient Celts. In many ancient cultures, people celebrated the coming of new seasons. Celts celebrated the seasonal divisions with various fire festivals. In the 10th century, Irish ruler Cormac Mac Cathai wrote about 4 great fires, lighted up on the 4 great festivals of the Druids, in February, May, August, and November. Those festivals mentioned are Imbolc, Beltane, Lunasa, and Samhain, the four most important seasonal festivals in ancient Celtic society. Modern pagans call them the wheel of the year. Cyclical circle is a universal sacred symbol observed in many early cultures, with times as a perpetual cycle of growth and retreat, the sun's annual death and rebirth. I extracted elements and recreated this sun wheel symbol. Sun wheel's first step is to create an online boutique focusing on the topic of these four Celtic seasonal festivals. It's for the modern pagan crowd, also for you and me. I hope to bring more people back to the old ways and speak to people already on this path.
In ancient times, Celts believed that during the shifting of seasons, the boundaries between our world and the supernatural world opened up. During these times, mysterious creatures wandered the earth. Celebrations with feasts and bonfires took place and marked the four Gaelic festivals. Today, though these myths and stories have faded, the spirit of the seasons live on.
We have an Instagram page to tell the story of these festivals and the bestiary related to them. Iggy is the Gaelic term for a supernatural race. There are many different types of Iggy. During these magical times, they could easily enter our world. For example, Kelpie, which is a horse-like water spirit always covered in seaweed, inhabiting lochs and pools. There will be a series of pins inspired by the Iggy. That's the homepage of our website. This part is now featuring Beltane, which is the upcoming festival on May 1st. It changes during different times of the year. You can click the right arrow to get more information. The store is divided into 3 categories: apparel, accessories, and festival supplies. For apparel, we have tank tops, shirts, and hoodies. Neo-pagans like to use incense and herbs during these festivals for their rituals. We make delightful festival kit toys, combining incense and herbs with the myth of Iggy creature, like this cat shoe we see here as a vinyl toy that contains ingredients to perform magic spells with. This is Sunwheel. We are devoted to evoking enchantment and fantasy in the world around us through modern ritual. With help from you, let us rediscover our roots and live a more fulfilling life. Thank you.
Let's all welcome MFA candidate Victoria Holod.
Growing up, we were always told by our teachers, families, and friends to focus on our education, that an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. They promised us that if we pursued our studies, the doors to our future would be wide open. Well, those doors turned out to be really expensive. Currently, 1 in 4 Americans have student loans, with the average owed being over $37,000. And the crazy part is that the total amount isn't anywhere near the millions or the billions, but $1,685,397,167,885. Over 500,000 people worked on one of America's greatest achievements, sending a man to the moon. It influenced the way we look at science, technology, even life itself. It cost about $152 billion, which means we could have had 11 Apollo programs to equalize the student debt. Now, the design of the student loan system is a mess. Right off the bat, you are given a loan servicer. They collect your money, make sure you pay on time, explain all of your repayment options. At least that's what they're supposed to do. Take Navient, for example, a loan servicer company that handles over $300 billion in student loans and all in 1 in 4 borrowers. Navient has been guilty for overcharging students, participating in deceptive practices for the company's economical gains, and countless other lawsuits filed against them, including by 5 different states. The worst part is that in federal court, they stated that they actually have no responsibility to help student loan borrowers, to not trust anything they put on their website or advise over on the phone. Now let's go back to this monstrous number. Women owe 2/3 of this amount. That's $929 billion. And with earning 27% less than their male counterparts in the workforce, it takes them longer to pay off their loans, so they accrue more interest and their debt load increases. So it's no wonder that men are able to pay 13% off their loan yearly, while women only 10%. It is because of this huge mess that 29 million women have to face that I wanted to create a resource where women become financially secure and confident. So that's Seesaw, a digital resource for women with student loans to help them understand and manage their finances. As seen in the video, we help women from every step of the student loan journey, from figuring out how to pay for college, those in college giving them tips on how to start saving money, in their grace period preparing them as they are nearing towards their repayment plans, to those in repayment, helping them reach their debt-free finish line. The heart of Seesaw is our website, where we are an information hub providing personalized plans that give you exactly the resources you need to continue to move forward. And we have experts on board providing articles with one-of-a-kind, easy-to-understand information, and are available for Slack office hours for more one-on-one sessions. Before even having to sign on, we ask users to input some information in a BuzzFeed-style quiz called "This Quiz Will Tell You When You'll Be Debt-Free" and what Disney character matches your personality best towards your debt-free journey. Asking them questions such as how they're feeling about it all, where they are in the student loan journey, and some basic information about the loans that they have. In order to give you a brief overview and plan on your loan and what you need to do to pay it off, all before having to subscribe. Oh, and you got Belle, by the way, as your student loan journey personality. Once you are subscribed, this is your Seesaw home. We track your progress, give you a curated reading list that will help you move along in your journey, all personalized solely to you. We have a companion app meant for busybodies, those that like to read on their daily commute, but it is also meant to engage with the community, with events like digital weekly challenges. Every Thursday at 7 p.m. for 45 minutes, our users get together to complete a financial-based challenge, and they can communicate with others while doing it. In addition, they can search keywords. So let's say I'd like to learn how to save money on textbooks. Typing in that keyword will give you a ton of information on what our users have done in the past to save money on that specific search word. Because building a community is so important to us, we are very present on social media, bringing more light on the student loan crisis, but also providing uplifting content, such as the astrological signs as piggy banks. Our main approach to increasing awareness about Seesaw will be through schools, so of course we need some swag. We plan to partner up with high schools and universities, hosting talks and pop-ups to get future users to start thinking about their finances now. And then, of course, having an advertising campaign, showing that you can kick your student loans butt with a little bit of help from us. As far as business plan goes, I would like to make membership free, relying on affiliate marketing, purchases of financial planners and trackers, which will be something that will be heavily focused on in Phase 2, and participating in collaborations and partnerships with other companies doing similar things for women. Because we want to see a future where women are financially confident and secure. We want them all to channel their inner Beyoncés and kick those student loans to the curb. Join Seesaw today.
Presenting next is MFA candidate Dan Yang.
Hi, I'm Dan. It's so a pleasure to be here and share my venture Murmur with all of you today. This was me 3 years ago. Just graduated from a famous university in China and was about to be a sales manager at a top 500 company. At that time, I had to pretend to be strong enough to be a reliable member. But whenever I felt frustrated at work, could not turn to anybody in the team due to our age gaps. I could not post any true feelings about my work on social media either, because my boss and colleagues could all track it. So I turned to my friends, but we were always disconnected due to the different schedules. At the end of the day, I had nowhere to go when I was feeling bad at work. I wished I could have a place to vent and unload my feelings. So this led me to my venture Murmur. Murmur is an anonymous, funny video app where young Chinese can feel free to vent about their jobs, colleagues, boss, and any stuff happening at their workplace. So how does the app make people feel free to talk? Murmur was inspired by the face mask. When people get their face covered, they feel more free to tell their true feelings. Thus, Murmur decided to offer face masks for the users. And we look at how does young Chinese look like today, and how they describe themselves suffering at work. Then the Murmur characters were born. To make it anonymous and keep it fun, users can customize their characters to make their own videos. Next, users can start recording. The face tracking technology allows them to make an emoji videos with their customized characters. Let's take this video clip as an example.
你的老板一定说过，我们是一家人，那为什么会有人想要离家出走呢？
Lastly, users can choose interesting audio feeders as well as doing video editing.
你的老板一定说过，我们是一家人，那为什么会有人想要离家出走呢？
Once the video is uploaded, everyone in the app can watch it. Users can also interact with each other through the videos. As they watch, they can post demo comments tied to the key points in the video's timeline. The text will float along the screen with the video, so users can have real-time interaction with each other. Users can also send preset emojis. We have warm-hearted emojis that show the love and support, so that the users can feel the sense of belonging to the community. Swipe gestures allow users to quickly navigate through videos. Users can also share funny, interesting videos they found in the app to their families and friends. To approach our intended audience, we will take advantage of the WeChat Mini Program, a friendly developer platform offered by WeChat. Murmur will build an initial mini demo program inserted in WeChat app. Since WeChat already owns the largest amount of users all over China, it's a good place to grab the very first group of audience and do testing. We will have several revenue streams. The first one is with branded merchandise using the characters. We even offer personalized merchandise based on users' avatars. We envision a series of collectible toys based on our characters. Lastly, and most significantly, Murmur offers the opportunity for virtual advertising campaigns to integrate with real-world crossover experiences, such as this pop-up event with Haiti, the most popular tea brand among young Chinese, drives you to the physical store and collect these cups featuring Murmur characters. If they collect the whole sentence, they can win a free drink from Haiti. Murmur understands that talking can help people unload their negative feelings. Murmur believes that the less negative feelings you have in mind, the better concentration you can have on work. We would like to accompany every young Chinese who's frustrated at their work and bring delightfulness into their workday routine. See you at Murmur.
Introducing MFA candidate Dawn Choi.
After World War II, as we all know, the tension between communism and capitalism spread on an international scale, and to Korea. Sammy Lee, who was longing for liberty, was living in North Korea where communism occupied. Mr. Lee opposed communism, seeing violation for the foundation of socialism by the communist regime. Because anyone opposed to Kim's communism was killed, Mr. Lee had to flee to the south. He always hoped he would return for his family. However, the ideological war was intensified. In 1950, the Korean War broke out. After a painful history, the military demarcation line was made. He hoped and expected that Korea will unify soon, helping and supporting people like him from the north. Mr. Lee worked hard at adjusting to living in a turbulent South Korea. In 1958, he met my grandmother and made a new family with 4 daughters and a son. Although Mr. Lee hoped unification, he would never see again his family in the north and passed away. However, thanks to my grandfather, I was given an amazing gift: freedom. And I paid nothing for that. I feel responsible for this gift, given without any of my efforts. If I had been born in North Korea, I could got arrested for watching a South Korean TV drama and punished, taken to prison camps, be tortured or executed for my belief and thoughts, or suffered from chronic food shortage. I couldn't have been here for learning but brainwashed about the dictator and the regime. These are real stories from defectors' testimonials, evidence, and research by experts. North Koreans' basic human rights and fundamental freedoms are severely violated. There are more than 1,000 North Korean defectors every year. Why do they risk their lives and escape the country? Most of them experience human trafficking or sexual exploitation and abuse in their desperate journey. It's now more than 30,000 in South Korea. It's because of the violation of human rights in North Korea. Many people interested in North Korea because of the leader, politics, or nuclear threat. But now we need to see the people inside. Although there are many organizations and institutes working for North Korean human rights, it's not easy to get reliable information from here and there on the internet, in books, or other media about the issue. That makes it hard for people who are willing to help. It's overwhelming. We need refined and reliable resources to help people to get a more integrated view of North Korea. So I've made a website to solve this. I'm calling it Unveiled. Unveiled is a website promoting human rights in North Korea by informing our readers about the human rights abuses in a more readable and approachable way and connecting organizations with new activists and advocates. First, readers meet North Korean defectors' testimonials and read their social environment, people's lives in North Korea under the regime and inhumane policy. After they learn how the conditions of North Koreans are, we encourage our readers to be a supporter of organizations working for the issues they just read. We make it easier for our users to choose where to donate or participate. Users get customized suggestions according to their interest after answering some questions. They also can browse organizations. We give a summary of each organization and keywords each one focuses on. Our readers search about it and sort by the keywords to choose the most suitable one to work with. On the account information page, users can always check activity status and history. Premium members can see the latest news and resources of organizations marked as their favorite. Our weekly newsletters deliver latest news of North Korea, related human rights, or upcoming events. And we'd like to make more space to communicate, build a relationship with North Korean defectors, and reinforce our audiences. Our podcast channel, Unveiled Journey, would be a great media for North Korean defectors who can reveal the face to the public for security, to share their experience and life and raise awareness. And we're gonna publish a compilation book with the shared stories. We'd like to make a space for our future generation. Our members have limited access to the events. Because North Korea is the closest country and they are trying to conceal the truth, research from North Korean experts and testimonials from defectors outside the country are more trustworthy. So we are collaborating with these professional research institutes, NGOs, and schools to collect reliable information and stories. Now we are facing phase 1 to launch Unveiled version 1. We hope to get a fund from social impact investment, and we are offering free premium service for 3 months for our first users. In phase 2, we are expanding our market to other countries to gain more advocates, and we are conducting campaigns, public workshops, and education with our collaborators. Finally, in phase 3, we are hosting bigger events aspiring to be a bridge between North Korean defectors and the world, focusing on building a community. Going back to the gifts I was given just because I was born in South Korea, the freedom was achieved by someone's help and notable sacrifice. The gift, freedom, was free of charge to me, but to someone, it was not. We owe it to them. I think giving intention, helping and supporting people who don't have it yet would be the way to repay the favor. At this moment, we all know how our neighbors' lives next to you or even halfway across the world affect my life and vice versa. Our intention and action will bring life changes to North Koreans and eventually us. Visit Unveiled and help North Koreans to find the freedom.
Coming up is MFA candidate Jingping Lee.
Hello, my name is Jingping. Welcome to view my thesis project. The story starts last year. When I visited my friend and her 4-year-old kid, I noticed an interesting thing. When my friend talked to him in Chinese, he replied to her in English. It made me want to dig deeper into the topic. How do Chinese families in the US parent? Chinese families don't get help from their American friends for Chinese culture-related parenting issues, such as motivating kids to learn Chinese. So most people look for help from their peers. However, my research revealed that when people live abroad, they lose nearly half of their peer connections. So online resources become the last hope that they could count on. One of the major online platforms people use the most is WeChat group. But it's too casual, and people post only spontaneously. Another platform is WeChat subscription. It offers many great editorial resources, but it's limited to one-way communication. People cannot meet each other within the community. New parents usually have specific questions in mind when they encounter problems. They want clear answers, but they don't have ways to find the parents with solutions. On the other hand, experienced parents know how to solve certain problems, but they don't have any motivation to discover new parents who are in need. So, my product 宝贝 will be the one to close the gap and be the channel for new parents and experienced parents to connect with each other. 宝贝 means baby or darling in Chinese, is an experience sharing app exclusively supporting Chinese parents in the US. When new parents encounter a problem, they can go to my app to ask a question, where they could edit their question, invite experienced parents to answer their questions. When they finish editing, they can post their questions. On the other side, experienced parents will first receive an invitation, where they could view the question, decide to answer, edit their answer, and post their answer. After new parents receive an answer, they can leave a tip as thanks. Experienced parents can earn extra money, thus get more motivation to use my product, and the interactions among the whole community also increases. In the US, there are 21,000 babies born every year whose parents grew up in Chinese culture. According to a research report, millennial Chinese parents spend over $11,000 every year on parenting products or services. If my product targets parents with kids from 0 to 12 years old, this is a $3 billion market. So how to build a business? First, I'll start with acquisition on WeChat, where most Chinese parents are currently active. I'll start by building a WeChat subscription, hiring experienced parents to share their expertise, and thus gathering followers in the WeChat group. When the WeChat group has a good number of active members, I'll build the 宝贝 app alpha, focusing on the basic question and answer function. The most loyal followers will be invited to use and test the app. After iterating on their feedback, I'll launch the beta version 1.0. The version 1.0 will focus on the influencers who can drive new user acquisition. I will pay or invite influencers on other platforms such as YouTube channel to use 宝贝. At the same time, I'll coach new users to become 宝贝 influencers, so we can grow together. Basically, there are two types of users that have the potential to become influencers. First are the people who have professional background on parenting-related field. The second are the parents who love to do researches related to kids' products or services. At the same time, we launch offline meetup events with collaborators to bond existing users and attract more new users. When the initial community is stable, I'll introduce paid features such as online courses and live talk offered by the influencers. New parents can access premium quality content while simultaneously increasing the interaction and the exchange of knowledge throughout the platform. Thank you for viewing my thesis project. I hope my product 宝贝 could help Chinese families and supports the Chinese community in the US. Thank you.
Let's welcome MFA candidate Nilu Rathod.
Hi, this is Neelu Rathod and let's begin. This is my grandmother's house. I used to visit her all the time. By the way, in India, from a very early age, we have been taught how to draw a house. This is what my grandmother drew. This is my mom's house and where she grew up in. This is what she drew. This is where I grew up in Mumbai. This is what I drew. And this is what my 5-year niece has drawn. Till now, nothing has changed. Over the span of 75 years, the way art has been taught to children has not changed. Well, my family was not alone. By the way, it's not just the houses, it's Christmas tree or elephant. And the answer is because of this. In school and classes, we have been taught how to copy but not to use our imagination. Everyone in our community is taught to draw the same thing, the same way. 80% of the art teachers across India are very skill based, and the courses focuses in school is also skill. Why? There's a history to it. When you go back to the British era, we were being trained to be craftsmen but not thinkers. The same ideology is ingrained in our education system. No wonder there's conformity. There are a lot of articles written about it, but no one is acting on it. We are not rewarded on originality or our uniqueness. We are rewarded to make the same thing. And honestly, this space is also not very creative. For example, this classroom is clustered with kids and there's no personal attention given to them. And after a point of time, they lose their interest. I was one of them, hence I know. Therefore, let me introduce you to my venture, Kala. Kala means art in Hindi. Let's see a video of it. Kala Art Studio is an inspiring and encouraging program of fun art classes that nurtures kids of all ages to express themselves freely. We unleash children's creativity and inner potential. Building improved languages and communication skills, students increase their self-confidence and self-esteem. Our unique art education approach embraces innovative visual art techniques, art history, and the freedom to be original. Free thinkers will conquer the world and beyond. Come experiment with us and discover your better self. Kala is a visual art space that offers process-based curriculum for kids that reframes creative expression in order to help them to be more confident and develop their critical thinking. Our target audience are children starting from 4 to 6 and so on. Their parents are our marketing audience, and school, artists, or art educators are our partnering audience. This is our website where students or their parents can enroll or get any information about Kala program. We'll be having very strong social presence on Instagram and we'll be doing a lot of live stories. Well, in Kala, we focus on two things. One is curriculum and other the space. In current art classes, this is what's happening. And in Kala, process-based art is all about experience. The student will be creating while making. If they end up making a good, nice end product, well, that's great. But the end product isn't the focus. Well, they say life is a journey, and what makes it special is all about experience. And this is what Kala will offer them. We will be having 3 phases. First phase, we'll be conducting workshops for the first 6 months. Within a year, we'll be moving on to the second phase, that will be our physical space in Mumbai. And third, we'll be reaching out to schools. Let's dive deep in the phase 1. Sample curriculum. As the students come in, they'll be starting 15 minutes of hand-free drawing. It gives them a chance to warm up and develop their fine motor skills and allow them to express or imagine whatever they have in mind. It's easier them to transfer from there on. For the next 20 minutes, we'll be introducing an Indian artist. The curriculum will be based around international and Indian artists. For example, this is an installation of Himali Buttas about line. So the students will take string and they'll be asked to draw whatever they imagine, and this is what they have drawn. Then the students will build on patterns and fill in with primary and secondary colors. Then they'll emerge into the drawing, and this is what the outcome is. Well, last year in December, we have conducted 2 workshops of 4 days with 20 students each, and we have earned $2,000. Well, this is one testimonial from our student.
I'm excited about color program because I can use different colors of my choice and there's a lot of encouragement which keeps me going. Thank you.
Well, the outcome of these 4 days workshops are they have learned to express themselves. They are sharing their artwork with confidence and pride. And at the same time, they are being very original. And we can't be more proud of them. The second phase is the space where we'll be renting the art studio where the art Teachers or art educators could rent the space. Our space of classroom would be stocked with everything that one need to explore and learn. At the reception area, there will be a small library related to art and design books, where it's easily accessible for students and their parents. On the other side of the reception, we'll be changing artworks of students weekly so they feel encouraged. The space used according to the requirements of the teacher, if they want to use only for canvas painting or they want to use it on table. Kala will be renting out the space to the like-minded people where this focus is more on the process-based art. So instead of doing their work at cafes or their house, they'll be having a professional art studio. The studio will be open 7 days a week. Between every class, half an hour would be given for cleaning up and setup. And teachers and artists can rent the space. For example, like this. Our final phase is phase 3 for schools. After 5 to 6, when we'll have tons of research and developed a solid curriculum, we'll be approaching schools all over Mumbai and then all over India. Kala is the space where dreams will test its wings. The program is just a stage, but the kids are the real stars. We are sure kids will love it, enjoy, and learn. Kala is a big believer in collaboration and teamwork. Big thank you from the Director of Operations to the heads of MFAD Design, to our teachers, and to my peers. Big shout out to Sue. She has been a delight for my thesis advisor. It's a pleasure to work under her guidance. There's never a dull moment. If any of you have any feedback or suggestion, please get in touch with us. Namaste.
Next up is MFA candidate Linda Georgine Lee.
Hi, I am Linda. Welcome to my venture. I grew up in a family where my grandma cooks for me to show her love and care. My favorite soup she makes every winter is called 腌笃鲜. My grandma's recipe includes a duo of cured and fresh pork with winter bamboo shoots and layers of tofu. I came to New York 5 years ago as a student studying at NYU. One day, I was walking down the financial district looking for a restaurant that makes Shanghainese cuisine. I didn't expect much and thought it wouldn't be great. To my surprise, I discovered this soup on the menu and it was incredible. I found the same taste of my grandma's soup on the other side of the planet in New York. Suddenly, I was brought back to home. The restaurant China Blue reminded me of home and grandma because they care about the food they make. However, there are restaurants like Panda Express and PF Chang serving a different kind of Chinese food, which I had some bad experiences with. Actually, I would not call them authentic Chinese food at all. In fact, there are many authentic East Asian flavors you could discover here in New York, a city known for its cultural diversity. The people behind these East Asian restaurants are bringing new cultural experiences from authentic food. I hope more and more New Yorkers could discover the same kind of authenticity I found in this city. As a result, I would like to introduce you to my venture, East Side. East Side is a guide to explore East Asian cuisines in New York. We hope the platform could provide access to authentic food experiences to the ones who are foreign to East Asian culture and eager to try new things. We present contents which might be very unfamiliar to our audience in an open and welcoming way. We plan to launch a mobile website to explore different East Asian restaurants with curated contents. Users are encouraged to share their experiences with us on social media. We are partnering with different restaurants all over the city. The restaurant partners are sorted by their location in the city. Here are some of my favorite restaurants we are partnering with, including Junzi, 886, Pink Chinese, Samuan Garden, and more. For each partner restaurant, we evaluate the occasion and offerings to give a summary. We make the top picks from the menu and we explain to the user of specific cuisines' origins. We also offer tips of how to consume them. Stories of each restaurant and the people behind are featured. Here, we introduce the art of eating pork soup dumpling. Nibble a bit, serve the soup, then eat the rest. We plan to hold East Side Food Festival twice a year as an introduction of the East Side partner restaurants. The website offers a food dictionary section which introduces the menus specifically to the people who are trying the cuisine for the first time. The first food festival will happen next year from February 17th to 29th. Our 9 partners will participate in this event. The menu is designed to show the rich landscape of East Asian culinary culture in New York. We choose the location to be the Oculus at Westfield World Trade Center, which is in Lower Manhattan. It fits the contemporary culture tone that the East Side brand is trying to convey. The Oculus connects 11 different subway lines. A large number of people transit through here every day. It is more accessible to the audience who are less familiar with East Asian culture to try new kinds of cuisines in the environment they are comfortable with. Here is a map. Each cuisine will have their corresponding packaging. The members of East Side will receive an invitation kit, including a passport to collect stamps from the partners, as well as free pass to events. East Side will invite chefs to share stories, experiences, and their views on the current East Asian food scene in New York. We will be reinforcing the value of the East Asian restaurant community after the challenges the industry faced during the coronavirus crisis. We plan to partner with 25 partners, free to join, and launch the editorial platform on October 1st. Each East Side member will enjoy a dinner set curated and offered by our partner restaurant every month. The food festival ticket revenue will be counted towards the annual revenue. We are also expecting to collaborate with organizations and companies like American Express and SBA. During Phase 2, we plan to expand to 60 partners and build more functions on the website. East Side aspires to be our ultimate resource to explore East Asian culture through authentic East Asian cuisines in New York. We believe the new cultural experiences could help individuals to discover more commonalities of each other. Hence, we could have a community with more empathy. Thank you and welcome to join East Side.
Let's all welcome MFA candidate Jikun Tao.
Hello everyone, I'm Jikun. I am a designer from China, and today I want to tell you some facts about China. Chinese design is on fire. After decades of development, the design industry in China is blooming now. There are tons of events happen all over China. Also, we have many talented designers shining on the international stage. So you may think that being a designer in China is dope. However, the cruel reality is there's no respect and no money for us. Let me tell you what's happening to designers in China. There will be a lot of requests from your acquaintance, like Photoshop their photos, make a poster, design a logo, and so on. This is what they pay you. A Starbucks coffee. Or sometimes they just want you work for free. At work, your boss and your clients may force you to make cliché works. Sometimes, designers are even forced to plagiarize others' ideas, and sadly, some people may get used to plagiarizing. Please look at these works. And here are some Chinese design in 2019. Talking about salary, the average annual salary in China is about $12,500. However, the average annual salary of a graphic designer in China is $11,000, which is only 88% of the average salary in China. As you can see, designers are in a vicious cycle of no respect and no money. We have to change this situation, and only us can help ourselves. But how? The only way is to educate designers and elevate professions. And this is why I want to launch my venture. Let me show you a short video first.
In China, there's about 10 million designers, and over 100,000 graduates join the profession every year. However, emerging designers are often isolated and have few opportunities to connect with each other, which fosters frustration and a lack of inspiration. Luckily, UB is here. It is a community for designers. We hold critiques, talks, networking, and other events. UB is where designers learn from each other, become connected, and inspired. Now, would you like to join us?
UB is a community for emerging designers, and it means talk to others in Chinese. UB holds design events every week, includes 4 different formats. There are UB Talks, Community, Workshops, and Critiques. In UB Talks, we will invite professionals from different fields to talk about their experience, design process, or works. While UB Critiques will give the podium to every attenders. Designers can share their works and receive advice from more peers. UB Workshops help designers gain skills and knowledge like silkscreen and risograph. And UB Community is where designers can network and make friends in a more relaxing atmosphere. No worry, most events can be easily shifted to digital platform. Designers still can meet face-to-face and share their ideas in extreme situations like now. To build the long-term relationships among designers, we will create a WeChat group for each event. Designers can chat and share their resources whenever they want. Also, UB has a website. You can browse upcoming events and book tickets. You can watch videos of previous events in the archive. Our websites also showcase our members and their works. On social media platforms like Instagram, Weibo, and WeChat, we post UB events news, design inspirations, and so on. Everyone can attend UB events with tickets, but UB members can enjoy discounts, have more exposure, and receive a gift box. Now we provide 3 different plans for users. Let's have a look at our gift box. It includes pins, welcome cards, tote bags, and many other gifts from UB. Now, one of my competitors is Zcool. It is a portfolio website like Behance. You may receive tons of positive comments, but you can hardly have a real connection with others. And professional design organizations such as China Graphic Design Association or Shenzhen Graphic Design Association are also my competitors. But they are invited only and look unapproachable for young designers like me. On the other hand, UB can partner with these designers' community to build a better world for designers. Also, art and design educational institutes and spaces like bookstores, cafes can also be our collaborators in the future too. UB is the place for designers to talk to each other, learn from each other, and bond with each other. After we educate designers and elevate professions, we can assert the value of design and enhance our role in the society. And let's build a community together. Thank you all, and see you at UB.
Presenting next is MFA candidate BC Zhao.
Hi, this is BC. and welcome to my venture. This is me. I've been crazy about animals since I was a kid. Real animals, stuffed animals, and basically every animal character. So you can imagine how excited I was when I got my first rabbit. I called him Tutu, and we became best friends. During the 2 years we spent, he taught me how fulfilled and joyful it could be to raise a rabbit. However, before I was able to further connect with him, he passed away, left a special place in my heart. Years later, here in New York, I met Connie. She reminded me of Tutu. I felt urged to adopt her and to establish a bond with her. In fact, Connie and I really bonded in more ways than I can imagine. She likes me patting her forehead. She likes doing her daily jogging on my bed. She likes a certain type of pellets and would do anything for it. Since I have Connie now, she made me want to learn more about rabbits. So I joined a rescue organization for volunteer, which gave me a chance to get to know how amazing rabbits are. Naturally, I wanted to share my happiness with my friends. However, the response was quite unexpected. They think rabbits are smelly, short-lived, stupid animals. Since I have spent lots of time with rabbits, I know these are not true. Also, when searching keywords like pet rabbit on Google or Quora, people seem to have no idea what kind of pets rabbits are, which made me wondering why. From interviews and surveys I conducted during my volunteering in pet store, I found out 95% of pet people consider bonding with their pets is the most important point, which many of them don't believe rabbits are capable of. In fact, rabbits are social animals. The relationship between a rabbit and its owner will determine the quality of a rabbit's life. Rabbits will bond even more closely with their owners and become more interactive. So, based on the existing stereotypes, my personal experiences and researches, I create Tutu. Tutu named after the very first rabbit I owned. A campaign that advocating rabbits are good pets and combating myths and stereotypes toward them. Tutu's audiences are millennials, whom ready for pets, some even interested in rabbits. However, because of the myths which have existed for a long time, feeling insecure for having pet rabbits. Within the first year of launching Tutu, our campaign strategy will begin by getting exposure and spreading the word through Instagram and printed collateral. Instagram would be our major enticing platform to reach our audiences. Cross from rabbit parents on explaining some rabbit facts and behaviors with delightful tone. We even showcasing funny, also warm interaction between a rabbit and its owners by using animations. Posters would be put on pet stores where easily get publicity of our campaign to all pet people. The point of this series of posters is to eliminate how people usually think rabbits cannot respond to humans and have no emotions. By giving them speak bubbles, creating a sense of humor within, also Tutu wants to tell rabbits are capable of expressing their feelings. It might take some time, but you will notice it eventually. The phase 2 would be partner with several rescue organizations and have a community within, in which be beneficial for both new parents and rabbits. Tutu provides basic knowledge of raising rabbits as pets. give potential rabbit parents a clear image of the whole process. Also, Tutu uses simple form of cards showcasing rabbits-related knowledges, and new parents can research within easily. Furthermore, Tutu connects rabbit owners, rescue organizations, vets, and other relatable companies together, forming a community which let them share information within. Phase 3 is to launch our merchandise and products. Under the circumstances recently, online shopping will become even more inseparable from people's lives. The Tutu subscription box provides 2 levels of services for different types of demands. Then, Tutu will launch merchandise lines such as pins, t-shirts, tote bags, and more. This could help sustain our campaign and the Tutu brand. I've been fascinated by animals, especially rabbits, since I was a kid. They are lovable and smart. I believe the joy and happiness they could bring to us. You could find out by Tutu. Thank you.
Introducing MFA candidate Catherine Killefer.
Hi everyone, my name's Catherine Killefer. Thanks so much for tuning in today. If you're interested in what you see, I'd love to hear from you. Enjoy! These are my grandparents in 1952. They got married in a simple, joyful ceremony at home. They were married for 61 years, and their marriage has served as an incredible example and inspiration for me since I was little. Fast forward a few years, and this is my husband Eric and I, the night we got engaged. We knew we wanted a wedding similar to my grandparents, a fun party focused on love and community. But weddings and the world have changed quite a bit since 1952. Ours was one of over 2 million weddings last year, mostly other millennials, just like us. And like other millennials, we wanted to make choices to reduce our environmental impact. But when we started wedding planning, we were overwhelmed by the focus on consumerism, extreme fairy tales, and anxiety promoted by the $72 billion wedding industry. So instead, we spent a lot of time researching how to plan a less wasteful wedding, struggling to make a lot of decisions based on limited resources. The whole process was really stressful and disappointing. I was shocked by the lack of information or even interest in sustainable wedding planning. Because not only are today's weddings more expensive than ever before, but the average US wedding also generates 63 metric tons of CO2 emissions and 400 pounds of trash. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, the average wedding is 4 times more wasteful than your annual carbon footprint, or about the same environmental impact as driving around the Earth 6 times. Taking together all of our lovely weddings for 2019, including my own, created the equivalent damage of running 37 coal power plants for an entire year. I believe we can do better. Scratch that. It's 2020. We have to do better when it comes to celebrating our love. And here's my solution. Meet Newly Green. We help America get sustainably wed instead. We're an online resource focused on inspiring and educating couples to consider the planet as part of planning their wedding and their future. We do this in 2 ways. First, we provide actionable, non-judgmental planning guides, because research shows that individual behavior changes can and will reduce worldwide emissions. We offer 5 guides focused on the most wasteful but changeable aspects of wedding planning. Let's start with the venue. Our guide highlights the most important decisions you can make right up front. It includes interactive elements to take a deeper dive into the larger systemic issues and offers our extensive research in a curated format for couples to browse and save. We have everything from straightforward tips, like the environmental benefits of an outdoor wedding and ideas for where to host yours, to external tools like TripAdvisor's filter for booking green hotels. We also include inspiration from real couples, as well as ways to fight climate change beyond your wedding plans. We know not every couple will be able to make all of these changes, which is why Newly Green also allows couples to add carbon offsets to their wedding registry. Carbon offsets can give couples peace of mind and enable their guests to contribute to a feel-good, planet-worthy gift. In case you don't know, carbon offsets are investments you buy to offset your carbon footprint. Because emissions from guest travel are the single most wasteful aspect of a wedding, and the one that couples are least likely to change, as they want their friends and family with them. Carbon offsets allow couples, or in our instance, their guests, to invest in carbon-positive projects to make up for the negative travel footprint. To get started, couples answer a few simple questions about their wedding size and their guests, along with what types of food they'll be serving. Next, they choose a project they care about, like reforestation or wind energy, and enter some personal information to create an account. From there, Newly Green generates a custom live web page for their guests to visit and learn more. The couple posts this link to their wedding website or online registry, and guests can contribute as a wedding gift. A dashboard allows couples to track their guest gifts and their saved planning tips all in one place. We know motivation is as important as education, which is why we send a weekly newsletter encouraging couples to track their commitments, and printable and social templates to share at their wedding when they've reached their sustainable goals. Currently, we've launched a promotional site to start collecting email addresses, and we're already sharing tips and real couple stories on our Instagram account. We've established an exciting partnership with a leading carbon offset group. They're a B corporation that already runs offset projects for these well-known sustainable brands. We'll generate revenue through a small commission from our partner for every carbon offset sale, and we'll use that money to support couples affected by the climate crisis. Luckily, my grandma was able to be with us at our wedding last spring. It was the last major family event she attended before passing away a few weeks ago. She continues to serve as a wonderful reminder for me of what weddings are truly about: love, community, and the connection between us and the generations to come. Let's not disappoint them. Join me and Newly Green. Let's get sustainably wed instead. Thank you.
Coming up is MFA candidate Jumi Kim.
Hello, I'm Jumi. Today, I'm going to talk about my past first. When I was in first grade, I got a call and someone asked me if my mom was home. I said no and hung up the phone. I had no idea who called. The next day, my teacher talked about phone manners. She said a student hung up on her and she mentioned that it was rude. Yes, it was me. I was labeled the rude kid. I had embarrassed my parents. I still remember that moment. Last year, I made gifts and airdropped them to strangers on the train. During this experiment on the train, I got some bad reactions. which made me think about how we interact with each other through digital devices. Someone said, "Get a life." Someone was very angry at me. Here's another angry note. And this. It is easy for us to be this way because no one knows who we are in online space. In the US, 40% of adults have personally experienced some form of online harassment. And 75% of adults have seen cyberbullying happening around them. These are examples of bad behavior on Twitter. People feel like they can say anything, and it is okay to hurt others' feelings online. People curse, insult, and start fights with others. How about this? We have all become obsessed with our phones. These memes are about phone use in class. All you can see is people on their phones. It is painful not to look at our screens. What we are doing is ignoring everything around us and losing our quality time with our loved ones. Throughout my experiences and research, it made me curious about how to use all the new digital products properly. We grew up learning how to behave with others in a society. But do we learn how to behave with others in the digital world? How can we make ourselves polite and good? This is why we created etiquette. Etiquette is a set of tools using artificial intelligence to help us enhance our relationship with others online. Etiquette is a metaphor for helping or curing when people want to be better at interacting with others in the digital world. What is really etiquette then? Etiquette will have more tools as we grow in the future. We have 3 tools so far. Etiquette board is a virtual keyboard that is designed to help us communicate better. Etiquette mode makes your phone remain blurry to help you enjoy your quality time with others. Etiquette robot is designed to improve communication between humans and robots. Do we really need digital etiquette with robots? Yes, we do. This is Brad. He is a college student in New York City. He is more rude when he's on his phone. Hiding behind the screen gives him the magic power to behave badly. One day, he was introduced to etiquette by his friend. Brad downloaded our keyboard. Then he turned on the etiquette board in his phone to get started. Brad gets our daily questions. These answers help us improve etiquette constantly. Brad can choose who he is. Also, he can personalize his goal. He can review his behavior. These are examples of when Brad is actually using etiquette board. Etiquette board gives Brad alerts and suggestions about better ways to communicate. When Brad clicks our logo, he can search for up-to-date digital etiquette. To use our second tool, etiquette mode, Brad gives etiquette access to his calendar. Then Brad connects his Google Calendar to our etiquette. He chooses when to get notified. Say Brad has a dinner plan at 6:30. At 6 p.m., he will be asked if he wants his phone to remain blurry or not. His phone screen remains blurry from 6:30 p.m. until the end of his dinner, which means he'll not be able to use his phone. During his dinner, when he opens his phone, he has options. Also, he can check how many times he unblurred his phone. Another tool, etiquette robot for those of us with smart assistants. Brad sets his goal with his Siri. Etiquette robot can help us how to behave the way we want it to be treated. Etiquette is for people who want to change their behavior with their intentions. If you improve our digital etiquette together, please visit our website to learn more. This is why we wanted to make etiquette and what we want etiquette to do for people. Since I don't want to be known as the rude kid again. I wish I had etiquette. Experience the better us. Thank you.
Let's all welcome MFA candidate Yiwen Chen.
Hi everyone, my name is Yiwen and I grew up in a family that loves food and cooking. After I came to New York, every time I miss my family, I cook dishes that my mom used to cook for me at home. And this is my favorite one, rice noodles with egg and tomato. I used to keep asking my mom if we have tomatoes at home so we can cook this dish. So when I moved here, my mom always reminds me to buy extra tomatoes. But this always happens. The tomatoes got moldy because I didn't eat them on time. And so as the other food I bought, breads, fruits, anything, I really feel bad throwing them away. And sure, I'm not the only person who is wasting food. After I realized how wasteful I am, I began to research about the food waste situation. The result turns out to be very shocking. About 40% of the food we produce are wasted every year in the US. I feel ashamed that I'm among the people who built this number up. And that food amounts to $162 billion money in waste annually. It's more than the net worth of Amazon company in 2019, which is $111 billion. And food waste not only has negative effect on economics, but also is a huge cost of the climate change, since most of the wasted organics ended up in the landfill. It's really a big problem for the whole human beings. So I can't help thinking, when do we start to waste food and let it become a habit? You may guess it's when we left home and began our own life. But actually, it's when we were still carefree kids, when we were still exploring the world and learned to make decisions, about 4 to 6 years old. If kids can be aware of food waste problem and be taught how to best handle it, it will be beneficial both for themselves and the whole planet. That's why I want to offer some solutions through children's books. Although there's also digital resources for child education, reading picture books is still the best way for kids around 5 years old to absorb knowledge. So, let's take a look at what's in the current market. Here are the most common picture books in the food category. They are usually about food recognition, the basics, cookbooks, simple recipes for fun, and nutrition, tells you why we shouldn't be picky. These are all great topics for kids. But food waste, which is the young generation should at least know it existing, is rather rarely seen in the market. And this is where I found my opportunity. So I created Toma Books. It's a children's book series for kids aged from 4 to 6 to learn about sustainable food systems. And Toma is our main character, a tomato, in memory of all the tomatoes I threw away. In the first book, Pota, a potato, will go on an adventure with Toma. At the beginning, Toma and Pota are neighbors resting the basket on the kitchen table. They are waiting for their showtime to become a fantastic dish. Sadly, Toma gets moldy and Pota grows a root on his forehead, so they think their dream is shattered, and they're garbage now. They don't know that actually they are collected as organic waste. They feel upset and confused. When they're in the sorting machine before composting, they are so frightened. In scenes like this, we will have explanation at the bottom to provide more information. They feel so dizzy after the sorting process. A good sleep is all they want now. This is when they officially enter the composting process. It took them quite a while to figure out that they are being composted, and the journey will not lead them to the landfill but back to the farm again. After working on the farm as fertilizers, they are finally reborn into fresh vegetables. So that is a quick view of our first book, Introducing Composting to the Kids. In every book, Toma is going to have a new friend. They will lead us through different ways to deal with food waste, like going to the farmer's market, buying ugly vegetables, and some cool preservation tricks. Then I think about, how can we bring the knowledge into practice? Moreover, we want to encourage not only the kids, but the whole family to participate, to change. So we built a website to provide more useful tools for the family to bring the knowledge to life. Because we talk about composting in the first book, we provide the function to fast locate the nearest organic drop-off site near you. We also organize field trips for the family to visit a real composting site and let the experts show you what's happening in the real life. We also have an online store here, selling merchandise that helps you adjusting to a greener lifestyle. For example, we make tote bags into regular and mini size, so kids can go grocery shopping with their parents. In the future, we are looking for partnerships with food-related organizations and brands to curate more stories and events and bring more families into the sustainable food system. Through our brand, we will help the future generations to build a sense of responsibility and confidence in protecting our planet with sustainable food systems. We hope they can be more prepared when they have to handle food problems on their own, and thus take care of their living environment better. Thank you for watching, and feel free to contact me if you're interested in my project.
Next up is MFA candidate Jingping Shu.
Hi everyone, Inda here with a new haircut. Thanks for coming. Now let's get started. This was my first Apple product, an iPod Touch 4. Back then I was in middle school and I loved listening to music on my iPod. That was the time when Miley Cyrus, Hannah Montana, and Taylor Swift was still a country singer. They inspired me to tell my own stories by writing my own songs and music. Fast forward, this was me in college with my first iPhone. Besides my love for filters, I still love music. Moreover, I developed a love for games as well. I downloaded hundreds of apps in my lifetime. 230 of them are games, and more than a third are puzzles. To be exact, 99 in total. It seems the puzzle games that I played are games with great sound effect. There's currently no game that really combines puzzle and music making. I love how puzzle solving and music making allows me to be totally focused in the moment, to be creative of the solutions, and they lead me to the product that I'm going to show you today. Loop is unique because we combine the best of music mixing and puzzle solving, the best of both worlds, if you know what I'm talking about. Before we dive into details, I'd like to introduce you to the digital beat maker. A column represents an instrument. I have 4 beats here. It goes automatically 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But now since the beat maker is empty, you can hear nothing. But if you add beats to it, you'll hear this. If we add another instrument, it'll sound like this. Sounds familiar? This is the same beat pattern as Queen's song, We Will Rock You. What if we add more instruments? When I was designing a game, I thought, what if every rows and columns are movable, and every time you move one, it loops itself, like this. You will end up with a totally different beat pattern. So we have the beats, but where is the puzzle. In the game, there are two kinds of beats. A black beat means correct. A white beat means it is misplaced. But where should it be? When the beat maker automatically starts to play, a red tile will show you where the white beat is supposed to be. This means the incorrect white beat should move one tile to the right. What you need to do is to swipe to the rhythm and restore the beat in the amount of steps indicated on the beat. And just like that, when a beat is in a column that represents the drum, it will sound like a drum. When it got swiped into a column that represents the clap, it'll have sound of the clap. Every time you move a row or a column, the pattern will change and so will the music. Let me show you guys another more complicated demo. Here's the puzzle. When it starts to play, you'll instantly know where the white beats should be. The goal is to restore the pattern on the left to the one on the right. For clarity, the demo is significantly slowed down. Now let's watch it with sound on. Now let's speed it up. So that's how we combine music and puzzle. And here comes our video trailer. Now let's suppose Jason, who is our potential user, he saw our video on social media and downloaded it. Joining us is a current user of the game, Lei, who has been playing the game for 2 weeks now. A more experienced user will unlock more challenge modes when the game launches. The first-time user will go through the tutorial as I showed in previous slides, and we will skip that part. After the tutorial, Jason will be directed to the levels page, while Lei can just tap any challenge modes to enter this page. What's more, for Lei, an experienced user, he has access to our Create mode, which is located at the bottom of the screen. In our Create mode, he can create his own puzzles, publish them for others to play with, and even explore others' creations. We are Loop, the puzzle that drops the beat. The game will be available on App Store this fall. I can't wait for you to play it. See you on App Store. Thank you. And special thanks to my advisor Mike and to all the faculty and class 2020. Thank you.
Introducing MFA candidate Chi Zheng.
Hi, this is Qi. Thank you for joining me today. This is me at 7 years old. Many children this age like to play with car or Barbie doll. I like plastic bag. I not only like them, I collect them. This is my first collections. My grandpa used this bag to fill with snack when he picked me up from school. In the eyes of a 3-foot tall child, this yellow bag was heaven. Here's my first Mickey Mouse bag. With this bag, my father bought me the first Mickey Mouse hat. This bag was the moment that my dream come true. After all this year, I don't know where the hat is, but I always have this bag. My family contributed back to my collections from time to time after they discovered my collecting hobby. This one, a Japanese character watermelon boy, was from my mom because she saw I look like him. There are more tiny stories about me. My collection has 1,673 plastic bags. Collecting bags is part of my life. The graphic, typeface, and the color are unique. I'm here as a graphic designer because of those bags. No matter what, even New York City has abandoned them, I'm not going to stop collecting. You might think I'm a strange person. In fact, 1 out of every 3 Americans collect something. Also, I conduct 200 surveys. It shows up 86% of them have collected something in their life. People out there are collecting something normal and interesting, such as coaster, ashtray, can, peppermint tin, and more. Can you believe it? They are all collections. In the eyes of the public, those same things need to be thrown away as garbage. Just like my plastic bag, people not only think they are garbage, they put garbage in the bag. We are misunderstood and unappreciated. Right now, collection community and the website primarily focus on buying and selling. Collections are evaluated by their monetary value instead of personal fulfillment. Also, people do not consider us as collectors. When people talk about collection, they think about coins, stamps, which already have a large community of collectors, not to mention art and antiques. They have museums. Collectors like me did not belong to any of these. Therefore, I create Cabinet. Cabinet is a community for collectors to share and tell the story about their quirky and meaningful collections. We have a mission to support and empower our collectors so they will be appreciated and be proud of their collections. To achieve this goal, I divide Cabinet into 3 steps. First, calling all collectors. Our Instagram had already found something incredible. We started a social media campaign called Collection of the Way. Pick one of the interesting collection of the way and post it through our official account. Make a Cabinet account become one of the showcase windows for our collectors. Other than that, our podcast channel will play an important role for calling the collectors. Here is the trailer.
Plastic bags, take-out coffee lids, erasers, paper clips, clothing tags, napkins, movie tickets? Why do people collect them? I'm Thomas, and I'm delighted to bring you Cabinet, Tales of Curious Collections. Beginning on April 10th, you can hear the interesting and unexpected stories that I have uncovered from various collectors.
I actually never told anyone this before, even my husband.
There are so many different perspectives on collecting.
It's not that you like something, it's how you like it. The interesting thing about it almost doesn't matter, because if they love it, what happens, their enthusiasm for it makes it incredibly interesting.
And hear from the quirky collectors themselves.
You know this book Marie Kondo wrote about how you should get rid of anything you don't really love? I love it all.
I hope Cabinet will scratch your collecting itch and inspire as you curate your own collection. Subscribe to The Cabinet, Tales of Curious Collections on Apple Podcasts or other platforms, and begin your collection with us.
Yes, Cabinet will interview the famous collector with her lifetime collection and discover what kind of collection behind the Chief Creative Officer of Collins. Moreover, it allowed our members to share their story and experience, college student with her bottle, and a young entrepreneur with her tomato stickers. Now it is time to the second step, connecting collectors together to build their own community. On our website, the tagline is Collect Where You Love, and Love Where You Collect. Of course, there are collection of the way on the homepage as well. You won't miss out the latest podcast episode and the conservation tutorial where you'll see a wide range of collection. If you are interested in specific one, just click to see the story behind the beautiful image. At this point, collector, your amazing collection should not just appear on the website or Instagram. You should give others a chance to see it. It leads us to the third step, sharing the collections. We offer a customization around the collections. Design a digital postcard by using your collection. Together, we can go through the COVID-19. Of course, you could have a plastic bag style tote bag for your grocery. From our mission, Cabinet want collectors to be proud of their collections. After a year of developing, calling, connecting, and sharing as Phase 1, we built Cabinet to go bigger. We would like to launch the Phase 2. Collection should not only live in two-dimensional world, and in Phase 2, we introduce display case. Our design team will work with collectors to find the best material, size, and unique style for your collection and for your home. It takes Cabinet another year to build a financial and prestigious foundation to Phase 3. We will be able to hold an exhibition to public both online and physically. Not only art piece in museum could have an exhibition, my plastic bag also was to exhibit. In fact, no matter it is a bottle, coin, or Renaissance painting, we are doing the same thing, which is sticking to our passions. Because Cabinet believes the power of a collection is built in the passion and history of the collectors behind the objects.
Thank you. I'm Chi here with my 1,674 plastic bag from food delivery service, which helps me survive from this quarantine. Thank you.
Welcome our final presenter, MFA candidate Jeremy Garcia.
Hello, my name is Jeremy, and I want to introduce you to someone. This is Allie. She's one of the happiest persons I've ever met, and she also happens to be my wife. She is a joy to be around. This is us in front of the very first apartment we had as a married couple. It's an old mansion in Provo, Utah that was broken up in a bunch of little apartments. It was only $800 a month for 2 bedrooms, and we just loved being there. But eventually, of course, we were ready to move on, and we decided that New York City was where we were going. I started our search online and found all sorts of listings, but when we wanted to learn more about the landlord, super, the neighbors, and the building itself, we could find almost nothing. We got connected to an apartment through some acquaintances. Unfortunately, because of our budget and an internship Allie was doing at the time, we weren't able to fly out and view the apartment before we signed the lease. The landlord, he was awesome. He sent us a bunch of photos of the space. It looked amazing, and he was just very accommodating. Luckily, we had a lot of pop culture references to show us how New York City apartment living would be, which made us even more excited for the move. And eventually, we arrived to our place in Manhattan. It was so foul. This was the inside of the refrigerator, some old meat juice or something. Besides it being foul, it had a number of more serious issues, like a roach infestation, or just rusted broken pipes, and peeling tiles in the kitchen. I'll never forget seeing Allie sit down against an unpainted, dirty wall and just start to sob. This bright, happy person trusted me, and I brought her to live in a hellhole. I felt like a failure as a new husband. We were played. And it took a lot of time, effort, and money to recover from that experience. Then I started thinking, I can't be the only one. After living here for a while, and after talking to many other New York City renters, I learned this sort of thing happens all the time. My experience is not unique, and it's not nearly as bad as some others that are out there. Everyone is being played. And it's just strange to me because there's over 6.4 million renters in New York City. 76% of those renters have experienced plumbing issues, leaks, pest infestations, structural damage, or loss of heat with their apartment. Something that kept coming up in the different stories I heard from renters was the lack of information they had before committing to a new home. There are all sorts of services in other industries that try to inform where information disparities exist. Some examples of these focus on pure data, or others, reviews, and others, a little bit of both. My question is, where is the service that helps New York City renters?
So you live in New York, or you want to live in New York, and you're looking for a new home. There are all sorts of apartments you can look at, but how do you know if a building is good or bad? How can you know that after you move in, you will love it? HeyNeighbor.fyi. Find a home that meets your standards.
Hey Neighbor is a platform that shares insider details about apartments, ensuring New York City renters find comfortable and safe living conditions. Hey Neighbor gathers and organizes two types of information, the first being government tracked data. This includes a number of constantly updated databases. The second source is first-hand accounts, that's reviews and comments from the people who have lived in the building, spent time with the neighbors, and know the neighborhood. Let me show you the interface of Hey Neighbor. Different people have different standards when it comes to places they're willing to move into. When you arrive on the landing page, it prompts you to think about what your standards are and how they may differ from other people. After searching a specific address, you are brought to the building profile page. From here, you can view photos of the space that were submitted by tenants or the system. Ratings are displayed to get a quick feel of the building. One rating is based off of government data that is being pulled, and another is based off of tenant contributions. To the right of the photos, an interactive map is displayed with important locations. When we scroll down, the most pressing issues are shown, which highlight the reoccurring or recent complaints and violations that the building has had. Below that, rent history is displayed. This chart can help renters with negotiations or be an indicator if something fishy is going on. When we scroll down, you will see anonymous reviews from current and past tenants, helping describe the building in ways data cannot. That's the overall idea. However, in phase 1, we are going to focus on a smaller piece of the idea to enable quicker implementation and validation. I've partnered with a developer that I've worked with on projects similar to this phase 1 approach, which is bootstrapping the design and development of a Hey Neighbor Chrome extension. A Chrome extension will approach a user where they already are when searching for an apartment, which is websites like StreetEasy or Craigslist. It will also be an easier lift to gather and organize the data for something smaller, like an extension. Once we have this built and released, we'll be able to measure and learn from the first adopters. After that, the goal will be to pursue further funding for the development of the larger platform. Living in New York is amazing, but finding apartments that are up to standards is just a pain. Hey Neighbor will change that. Hey Neighbor will help renters find a home that they will love. Thank you.
Thank you, class of 2020. You've done a terrific job under stressful circumstances. You should all be proud. The venture process is never easy, but this was twice as hard, and your outcome is 4 times the better for the challenges you had to overcome. This is not the end. We will start promoting Venture 2020 on our social media platforms to generate interest in your ventures. We will publish your pitch books in the coming months and make them available as downloadable PDFs as well. Although your studies will come to an end in the next few weeks, you are forever members of the SVA MFA design community. Our doors are always open. Our faculty is at your service. And as soon-to-be alumni, we hope you will take part in our continued events. Before we transition into the after party, we want to thank many people who made this possible. Their names are on the slides to follow. But we want to introduce the other 2 essential members of our team to say a few words to you. Ron Callahan and Veronica Golova.
Thank you, Lita. I remember something remarkable from a few weeks ago when I was setting up the first online class at MFA Design. What was remarkable, besides having the technology to do this, was the immediate adaptation of the students to the new learning format. They jumped right in without a blink. So, we knew we needed the best way to showcase the work they spent 2 years creating. It was our fail we may, sail we must attitude that allowed us to change the course and land safely here at Venture 2020 within 2 weeks. I believe their time here at SVA, learning new skills and new ways of thinking, is precisely why they were able to pivot so quickly. This graduating class, more than ever, will need to continue to adapt to the unknown world that lies before them. As you can see from their pitch presentations, they're already designing solutions to issues concerning our future. I congratulate them on their achievements, their growth, and I implore them to be the provocateurs and the game changers that the world at large needs right now. And next up is our own Director of Operations and the voice of this year's Venture 2020, Veronica Golova.
It has been a privilege to be a part of this team and to support Class of 2020 over the past 2 years. Through the many ups and downs that we face today, I have never been more proud to contribute to this community, one that sets the standard for perseverance and blazes a trail for others to follow. You have all fought, overcome unhappiness, and become role models. Congratulations, Class of 2020! Now let's party! Ron Callahan is waiting for us at the after party. Go to design.sva.edu and click the live rap party link. See you there!